value of mentorship across our industry as the call goes out for those seeking to nurture the next generation. From the National Business Aviation Association, this is Flight Plan.
This week's podcast is brought to you by Whiting Aviation Park, ready to grow your business in Santa Rosa County, Florida.
I'm Rob Finfrock with your trusted source for business aviation news. Many of us working in this industry are fortunate to have had a specific person or people who took a special interest in our careers and our professional development. Those who took the time to offer their guidance and advice and to share with us their perspectives and knowledge. You may even be that person for someone in our industry, even if you don't realize it. The importance of such mentors to many business aviation professionals led to the creation of the NBAA Mentoring Network. The program offers not only a chance for established industry professionals to connect with tomorrow's leaders and help ensure the industry's future, it also provides mentees with an invaluable leg up in the wide range of business aviation career options available. And the experience offers both parties a potential source of guidance, inspiration, and support for years to come.
I would venture to say that virtually 100% of the time you will find that you get so much more out of it than you put in, and you will grow in ways that you can't even imagine.
That was Paul Scurio, an international captain at Netflix who also serves on NBAA's International Operators Committee. I'm also pleased to welcome Jessica McClintock, Vice President of Global Accounts for Fueler Links and Chair of NBAA's Young Professionals YoPro Council. Jessica, please tell us a bit about the role mentorship has played in advancing your aviation career.
Sure. So one of the most powerful free things in this world is knowledge, right? It's amazing how much knowledge really that you can gain when you're not only open to new ideas and you're not afraid to ask those questions and receive guidance. So mentorship for me has been pretty instrumental in not only my business aviation career, so far I should say, but as well as through my adolescence when, I didn't have guidance growing up so much. I had teachers to depend on and relationships with coaches and career counselors through my high school and my college age that have led me to this point where in business aviation, I now find myself leaning on the thoughts, the ideas, and the goals of others around me, those that have been very successful in what they've done so far and who have been open enough to share their perspective in their, essence with me.
Paul, can you describe the importance of mentoring in your career?
I'll answer that question in two parts because mentorship includes being both a mentor and a mentee, and I've benefited from both roles. So mentorship for me wasn't something that, you ask somebody to do. It was more of a, kind of like making friends. My relationships with mentors developed as I got to know people who were more experienced than me, who had knowledge that I didn't have, and they became sort of accidental mentors to me. And I think there are, as Jessica mentioned, mentors in your industry as well as outside of your industry. So one of my first mentors was a family friend who sort of treated me like a son he never had. I admired him, and he supported me and encouraged me in decisions that I made about my education and my career. I've also had mentors in the industry. One of my first was a Navy on-wing instructor, and this was more of a formal relationship. Every student aviator has an on-wing instructor for their first several flights, and the idea is to promote consistency and familiarity for the student as they get started in the program. And sometimes students and their on-wings stay in touch with each other, which in my case we did. And he was someone who had been out in the fleet in the real world Navy and was able to share those experiences and lessons with me, which in turn helped me to make important career decisions in the Navy. Another mentor was more in the business aviation community. We met during initial training on the Gulfstream 650, and right away I admired them for their knowledge and experience as a pilot, as well as their leadership skills and perspectives. And they were much more experienced than me. And our relationship started with me asking for their perspective and advice on a project that I had been working on. And they answered my calls and emails and were willing to help me. So over time, our relationship developed into more of a mentor mentee relationship, and I would often seek their advice on professional development and career decisions.
What about when you stepped into the role of a mentor, Paul?
My first experience as a role as a mentor was through the Big Brothers Big Sisters program. So I was a young naval officer in my 20s, and I volunteered to be a big brother for an 11-year-old named Henry. And we spent time together as part of the official Big Brothers Big Sisters organization. But much to my surprise, Henry's family welcomed me as a part of his family, and they would invite me to spend holidays with them when I couldn't travel home to be with my family. And over time, I developed a relationship not just with Henry, but with his extended family. And we continue that relationship even today, many years after the formal Big Brothers relationship ended. And I just spoke with Henry yesterday. It was his 2-year-old son's birthday.
That's great, Paul, and it's clear how much you value those experiences. Jessica, how has mentoring affected your perspective on your career and elsewhere?
I think one of the big things for me is similar to what Paul has already mentioned, is that feeling of just creating relationships with others, that need for that interpersonal evolution of ideas, thoughts, compassion. It helps you grow as a person, as an individual, and through your professional space as well. I've gained way more rounded thoughts, diversification in what's possible, the empowerment to continue reaching for my personal and professional goals. And overall, I'm more comfortable helping others realize the values of programs like these, or, like MBAA's mentorship initiative. One of the first mentors that I came across is actually in my age group, Sierra Grimes, actually. She actually works with MBAA and is the main component in the propeller of the Young Professionals Council, and that program that really speaks to young people getting involved, the advocacy, the initiatives to create more awareness and bring people together with their ideas, their thoughts, their potential career paths. And that to me is all about mentorship. She showed me that there is value in learning from others. There is value from asking questions. There is value from giving some time to listen to other people. It's funny how big of an impact that small initiative to kind of take that step into allowing somebody's life to be a part of your own through whatever kind of capacity. It could be as small as just exchanging emails or talking on the phone every couple months, to that bigger direction of kind of the direction that he's already explained very clearly, is now they're a part of your family. It's funny how it evolves so quickly, and it makes an impact on your life that is worth so much more than the time you put into it.
Coming up, we'll discuss what it takes to be a mentor or mentee. But first, a word from our sponsor, Whiting Aviation Park in Santa Rosa County, Florida.
Ready to grow your business? Whiting Aviation Park can help you take off. Here, you can develop up to 200 acres for manufacturing, maintenance, repair, or overhaul operations adjacent to NAS Whiting Field, with access to its 6,000-foot runway. You'll be able to reach high and go far from Santa Rosa County, Florida, home to a large, skilled, military-trained workforce. If you're serious about growing your business, learn more about the incentives waiting for you at whitingaviationpark.com.
We're back now with Jessica McClintock and Paul Scurio, and our discussion about the value of mentorship and NBAA's mentoring network to encourage the development of these influential professional relationships. Paul, one of the most common questions we hear about volunteering to serve as a mentor is about the time commitment involved. As someone who's been on both sides of the mentor-mentee relationship, what are your thoughts on that?
Of course, that's definitely a major concern, I think, for anyone contemplating becoming a mentor. First of all, I'd say you want to be prepared and you want to be helpful. Being a mentor does take time and effort, but you always get more from it than you give. It's a very rewarding experience to give back some of your experience and knowledge as a mentor to a mentee and to see them succeed as future leaders, particularly in our industry. I think you may find that some of the things that you can benefit from in the relationship are improved communication and personal skills, developing leadership and management qualities, reinforcing your own study skills and knowledge of the subjects that you're going to talk to your mentee about, and also increasing your confidence and motivation. There's just something about stepping up to help somebody else that makes you look back at yourself and try to get better as an individual so that you can be more prepared to help others.
Really, just rounding off Paul's point there is if everyone could distribute even a small percentage of their everyday lives to support, to uplift, encourage, develop, and guide others, the inherent value added to not only the mentee's life, but also, as Paul mentioned, the mentor's life is far more great than any other substitutes to such time, right? So let's say that time is a gift. And to share that gift by distributing that knowledge, that experience to those who thirst for it is really time well spent, right? So I would just say that it's worth what you put into it, and you'll find that in kind of the fruit of the labor.
Jessica, what about someone who may be reluctant to view themselves as a mentee? Even if we're just starting out, that can sometimes be an awkward role to place ourselves in.
Well, being a mentee, from my various roles, I've been a mentee, and I'm very proud to have been a mentee and continue to actually be a mentee. I think that it doesn't stop. People in your past, in your family, in your experiences have all taught you different ways to interact with your future, right? So just as we all gain in age and we all grow older and we all experience these different things, it doesn't mean we have to shut ourselves down to what we've already experienced, to what we've already learned. If we stopped learning, if we stopped growing, if we stopped deeming ourselves to be mentees or mentors at any level, I feel like that we're doing ourselves an injustice in a sense. I see it as just another opportunity for me to gain these really amazing relationships with people that have had some value or impact into the world that I'm interested in, something that I want to learn more about. And it continues to nourish my thought process and continues to help me grow as well as others around me. If I can take knowledge through being a mentee, then I can repurpose that knowledge somewhere else along the road and possibly be a mentor for that same kind of instance, which I find very, very valuable to today's world and a necessity to continue to recycle that knowledge and to continue to help grow the young people of our generation.
Paul, from your experiences, have you also seen the line between mentor and mentee blur a bit over time?
You're absolutely right. As the relationship develops, the lines blur. And as I mentioned before, you always learn something from your role as a mentor from your mentee. My relationships continue with many of my mentors, as Jessica said, hers do as well. And again, as we grow older and become more experienced, it becomes more of a conversation than a coaching relationship. I still look to them for advice, and sometimes they look to me for advice.
You know, listening to you and Jessica share your experiences has really made me think about my own mentor in this business. That was Pete Combs, who was the original host of this podcast until he passed away last year. Pete was also my editor when I first started out as an aviation writer 15 years ago, and he really taught me everything I know about doing the job. But what's most important to me was how our friendship continued and evolved long after we worked together. Pete was always there when I needed advice about my career or practically any other aspect of my life. I'm so grateful to have had that.
I think you bring up a great point, Rob, in that these relationships are personal. And I think just listening to the three of us talk, you can tell how touched each one of us were on that personal level by our mentors and our mentees.
It's part of what drives this mentorship to be so powerful is being personal and adding those goals with guidance. And that's what we're really here for. I've been blessed in the fact that I've run across so many amazing people that were willing to help me to get to where I am today, as well as, what my future endeavors are. And that's a blessing in itself, but don't stop. Just continue to share that joy. And really, if you've already been in that place that I've been, that it sounds like Paul has also been, and also you, Rob, you've been in that place where you've been able to be gifted a mentor throughout your life or throughout your career, pass it along.
Thank you both for sharing your stories on this topic. Paul, is there anything else you'd like to say to those who may be on the fence about signing up for NBAA's mentoring network?
I'll say 2 words. Do it. If you're listening to this podcast, you're obviously demonstrating interest in the program. And each and every individual brings something unique, whether it be as a mentor or a mentee. And the more diversity there is in this program, the more benefit it has to offer to everyone. You know, it is kind of a big, scary world out there for people who are looking for mentors, and the mentoring opportunity for young professionals just to talk to those who were in the same boat that they are but have succeeded in our industry. It's such a great opportunity to learn from people who want to help young people coming into our industry and see them be successful. It's just a win-win.
Your closing thoughts, Jessica?
Each journey is different, but the perspective that helps each one of us expand our horizons is really the important thing here. So be open, be hopeful, have courage. You never know who you'll meet or what value your story can add to the world if you don't take the time. The NBAA mentorship program is such an amazing business aviation outlet to help facilitate this growth and guidance and really potential. And it's something that I would seriously take a look at. And as Paul already said, you got to just do it, right? Stop thinking about it. Just put your effort into it. See what happens. Nothing negative happens from putting yourself out there into a community of open arms and positive energy that is willing to help you get to the next step of your career or maybe within your life. So just make it happen.
I really can't encourage you enough to visit nbaa.org/mentor to add your name to the NBAA Mentoring Network. The deadline to submit applications this year is coming up this Friday, September 25th. It only takes a few minutes to add your profile, and as you've heard today, it really can be a fantastic experience for both mentors and mentees. And that's the latest from the National Business Aviation Association. Thanks again to our sponsor, Whiting Aviation Park. And remember, you can subscribe to all Flight Plan episodes at Apple Podcasts in the App Store, wherever you find your favorite podcasts, including by asking Alexa or another connected device, or download them from nbaa.org. I'm Rob Finfrock, and thanks for listening to Flight Plan.